The European Union was dealt a blow after Britain was revealed as the most influential state on the continent in the eyes of Americans, according to a new study. The German Marshall Fund think tank found a majority of Americans believe the UK is more influential than Germany and France combined. More than half of respondents said Britain, which left the EU earlier this year, was the dominant diplomatic force across Europe before and after the coronavirus crisis struck. The study showed 53% of Americans saw Britain as the most influential state before the pandemic. After the outbreak, the number dropped by 1 to 52%, but London was still deemed more powerful than the joint force of Berlin and Paris. Before coronavirus exploded across Europe, 23% of Americans said Germany was the most influential state on the continent, with just 10% saying France should hold the crown. And after 27% backed Berlin, while Paris took a dramatic hit with just 6% claiming it as the most influential capital. The Marshall Fund's report said, clearly, the US-UK special relationship is still shaping Americans' view of Europe. As Britain negotiated itself out of clasps of the EU, pro-Brussels politicians would often attempt to suggest the divorce would drastically impact the UK's place in the world. In November 2019, Donald Tusk, the former European Council president, said Britain would lose influence in international affairs and become a second-rate player after it leaves the EU. He said, I have heard repeatedly from Brexiteers that they wanted to leave the European Union to make the United Kingdom global again, believing that only alone, it can truly be great. But the reality is exactly the opposite. Only as part of a united Europe can the UK play a global role, only together can we confront, without any complexes, the greatest powers of this world. And the world knows it. Similar theories were shared by the likes of former European Commission Chief Jean-Claude Juncker. The retired Eurocrat often claimed the English language would lose its importance soon after Britain's EU departure.